All right, I'm here at the. I'm tired. I just worked 72 hours. I worked 72 hours straight. I worked 72 hours straight, and I was still bound and determined to get outdoors today. Usually I do the pack canoe thing, but Coco and Dusty are not with me today, so I'm going to be hiking a section of the long trail from the Duxbury window. Just need to get some outdoor time. I've been stuck in an office for 3 days. It's been intense. Definitely need to get some outdoor time after some regenerating time. Okay, I've babbled long enough. Hopefully I'm going to switch to the GoPro, although I find it to be a bit of a pain. We'll see what happens. So I understand it's a thing these days where people see video and then they want to go to the place, and then the place gets all worn out. And I certainly don't want to see that happen. That's one of the things that I'm trying to kind of educate people about, is taking care of the land that they recreate on. So if you do come here, treat it gently and take good care. Pack out all your trash. Stay on the trail for the most part, except for the poop, obviously. Bury your poop, your dog's poop. It's always a good idea to keep your dogs on a leash. I know we dog owners don't, we want to give them some freedom, but you know, dogs have a tendency to bring bears back with them, and also not all dogs are friendly, so your dog might be friendly, but it might run up to somebody else's dog who is not and get bit. It's always a struggle for us, especially with Coco, because she does not like to put our dog on the leash. And he does like to run around and sniff things, but he's also trained to walk between us, which is good. This is the first time I've ever used trekking poles. Feels kind of weird. Mostly I got them to hold my camera. But I am having knee issues, and I understand that they can be helpful in that department. So, trying it out. And I haven't figured out how to dial the wrist straps in. I'm also not used to hiking with a standard backpack. It's a little feels a little top heavy to me. Well, this trekking pole business is weird. Maybe I should shorten them. That's better. Guess I had them too tall. It's about 10:20 in the morning. I got done with work at about 8:15. I'm ready to go to bed already. And I'm gonna do it again next week. It'll be my third week of working these massive marathon shifts. But I'm getting some crazy overtime, and I used the extra income to justify buying a new War Bonnet Blackbird XLC with the full setup, winter top cover and Superfly tarp, a Wookiee underquilt, and also a new ULA backpack, so that on the occasions that I need a standard backpack, I have one that isn't falling apart. I have this Alps mountaineering bag, and I've had it for 20 years. I probably used it 5 times. I've used it less than 10 times. And it's falling apart. It looks brand new, but it's falling apart. I called ULA Saturday night from work, because I can do that sort of thing while I'm working, and spoke directly to the owner, who answered the phone on a Saturday night, and he was quite helpful. You know, I'm excited to get one of their packs and support that company. I had been talking to Zimmer built packs, and then the guy just stopped answering my emails. I was ready to make my payment and get the pack going, but I don't know why. Maybe I asked too many questions. If you're gonna pay that money for a custom built pack, though, you gotta be able to ask some questions. Yes, well, anyway, I think I found my spot. We have the trees. We are hanging these trees. I see no widow makers. I see no widow makers. So I'm gonna set up. So let's talk about my load here for a minute. I'm not used to traveling, especially light. It gets pretty cold, down below freezing at nights right now sometimes. You know, the forecast is highly unreliable. And I've got about a total of 32 pounds. That seems like a lot. This summer I had my pack weight down to 18 pounds. I guess it's all winter stuff. I had an axe with me on that one too. Right now I just have a little hatchet for splitting wood, which, you know, can work, but the axe works much better. Anyway, it saves about a pound, so yeah, it's a little heavy. But the hike was super easy. I'm so used to hiking with a boat. I'm just shocked that I'm here already. Okay. That's it for now. All right, there it is again, the Outdoor Vitals Chief. I made my own black bishop bag. It's a Jaxar Better Greylock 3. 3, the 20-degree one. A ridgeline organizer from my old Hennessy, a Duxbury adjustable ridgeline. This hammock does not come with the ridgeline. And the Outdoor Vitals bug sock, which I don't need for bugs right now, although the moths have been kind of bad in the evening. But it provides some extra warmth and also some rain protection. It has a light fabric at the bottom that has some rain protection in it. At this time of the year, you know, it keeps moths out of your face and gives you some extra warmth and a little rain protection, so it works for me right now. Just enough to make it worth carrying the extra weight. Anyway, let me finish setting it up. Got my hammock gear tarp up now. I just have to, pull back the snake skin or sleeve, I guess they call it, and deploy the tarp. I like this tarp quite a lot. It is the same type of fabric as my Outdoor Vitals tarp, but it's a little better quality wise. And it weighs less, and it's bigger. So, and I'm pretty sure it's the same denier fabric. I don't know why, but it weighs less. Anyway, great tarp, awesome, excellent customer service. Definitely a company that I will order from in the future. And I should have an order coming soon for Coco's Christmas present. Ooh. Here's the stream where I'll be filtering my water. I kind of wish it was hot. A good spot for swimming. It's a party spot. I'm glad I finally made it up here. Yep. Boy, I could go for a nap. I'd be up all night. Ah! Alright, so I have processed a couple of small trees into firewood. These were dead and down trees. I don't cut any living trees. Pretty much ever. There were occasions where I cut some small ones in thick growth to use as marshmallow sticks, but that's probably happened twice in 10 years. You know, I've found that using a dead thin stick works just fine. You don't need to worry about it burning, really. That used to be that was kind of a leftover thing from my youth, that the old stick wouldn't work. You had to cut a fresh one. Also, I suppose the fresh ones might seem cleaner, but you can definitely find a good down stick. Anyway, these trees were dead and down, hardwood. I brought a hatchet, which I usually bring a splitting axe, a light splitting axe, but this time I brought a hatchet and it did the trick. However, because the handle's so short and the head is so light, but to swing it with extra oomph to split some of the thicker wood. And when I did that one-handed, I glanced off and I came so close to hitting my shin. And I sharpened that thing razor sharp last night. So that was pretty scary. And that is the danger of hatchets. You can split wood with them. It doesn't work as well. You can get a small splitting axe that weighs 2 pounds or less. Mine, I think, is less than 2 pounds. But yeah, the hatchet's way lighter, and it did the trick. I am glad that I brought it because I was able to split most of this wood. And this wood was awesome. I don't know my trees well enough, but the wood kind of split itself. It was very hard and kind of brittle and perfectly dried. So it's supposed to rain starting soon. The sky is definitely clouded up. We'll see if the cloud people will be generous to me as they usually seem to be. If not, that's okay too. But I would be very psyched and very grateful if the rain holds off until I go to bed. I like hearing the rain on the tarp. And I would like to have this fire that I've worked very hard for. If not, somebody else will hopefully enjoy it. Okay, I think I'm gonna go for a little walk. Just when you think you're alone in the woods, you turn around and look, and there's some people. Collecting mushrooms. If I can shut up for a few minutes, we might hear the children of the forest laughing. Though I think I scared them away with my wood splitting. I heard them laughing before. They always like to laugh and play down by the rivers. I don't think they're big fans of wood chopping though. Damn, that is sweet. That's trash. You pack it out. Oh, you naughty campers. Why? Why do you do it? I like to think of hikers as being environmentally conscious, but so many of them are not. And here we have a rope left around the trees. We don't leave ropes around the trees. Trees don't like to be strangled. Nobody likes being strangled. Not even trees. This appears to be cotton rope. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw that in the fire pit. I might come back tomorrow and take some of this trash, but I get sick of cleaning up after people sometimes. Look at this beautiful spot. Don't leave your trash here, people, please.
A friend of mine says that I'm pretty arrogant to think that we are the stewards of the land. He says, you know, the land is going to survive long after the human race is gone. And he has 3 children.
It always shocks me when people with children don't care to take responsibility and try to take care of the land, because your children are going to grow up here. I think maybe a big part of it's because we're so removed from the land in general. God, it's such a beautiful, healing place, and we depend on our environment to live. Don't you want your children to have a good place to live? I know I would. I want my niece and nephew to have a good place to grow up in. And their kids, if they have some. Oh. Anyway, it may survive after we're gone, but what kind of place will it be? Looks like I'm gonna zigzag around a little bit until I find an actual trail marker. I don't know if that was the old trail. Yeah, so hiking when you're really tired can be kind of sketchy. And I will say that I got distracted by the stream and kind of excited to see the campsite. And then I got even more distracted by the trash that was there, which, you know, wasn't awful, but it wasn't good either. Definitely seen way worse. And I thought I could bushwhack over to the Bolton Window Trail, but as I'm going up that way, I'm starting to doubt where I am. A nice little fire cooking back here. Dinner is well, the water is boiling on my alcohol stove, the old fancy feast. Just enjoying the beautiful scenery and sound of the roaring brook. And the warmth of this fire. I do like me a good hardwood fire. I like splitting wood. Yep. That train makes a racket. It's kind of a loud campsite out in the backwoods. Still fairly close to the highway, and being in sort of a valley, the sound just rolls right up. There's also train tracks. Anyway, Today I listened to an episode of Trust the Trail podcast, and they were talking about a person with mental health issues who attacked some people on the long trail, I believe it was last year, and murdered one of them. And, you know, I'm kind of wishing that episode didn't pop up right before I went solo camping. But I'm definitely feeling a little creeped out this evening. I'm also on a trail, which I don't usually camp off of trails. I'm usually at a remote paddling campsite, so it's not like people can just walk in from somewhere. Yep. I'm feeling a little Halloween-y creepy. The moon just started rising up over the ridge behind me and was lighting up the forest a little bit, but it seems to have gone behind some trees or something now. Anyway, just thought I'd share my creepy moment with you. It happens sometimes. But everything's gonna be just fine. Just a little too much imagination. Okay then. Oh, good morning. The birds are singing. The brook is babbling. And I need some coffee. I slept 12 hours. Oh, it feels good. Having a morning fire. Something I don't do very often, but definitely when the weather gets colder, it can be nice to have a nice warm fire in the morning. My mossy rock here. I'm happy to be warming my toes by the fire and ready for breakfast. It's good to be out of work and in the woods. And I'm also a big fan of fire pits with a reflector in them. Ain't that nice? Reflects that heat right back at me good. Alright then. It's got some oatmeal that I made here. It has pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds and dehydrated apples in it. Some cinnamon, and I went sugar this time instead of maple syrup. I usually like to put a big tablespoon of maple syrup in there and a pinch of salt. It's quite tasty. It doesn't come in disposable packaging. And I've got one of them Starbucks Vias here. I'm gonna try the Medaglia d'Oro that Shug is always going on about. But I took the trusty Starbucks Via for this trip because I didn't feel like packaging up the Medaglia d'Oro. And I think I tried it before and I didn't like it. But, you know, I don't really like the Starbucks either. Here's a little tip about fire. So, pine cones are great help in starting a fire, especially if it's been raining. Also, everybody likes to use birch bark, right? Don't peel the birch bark off the trees. The trees need the bark, and it looks like crap. Instead, take a minute to look around on the ground, and you will very likely find little pieces of birch bark. Obviously, look on the ground around a birch tree. But okay, so I'm standing here. I took whatever seconds that just was. It was like 5 seconds. I turned around. I started to look. Boom! Here's a piece of birch bark on the ground. Right here. That was easy. It's a perfect piece of birch bark. This is more than I need to start a fire. If it was raining, then I would need the whole thing probably. But the other trick, if it's raining, is to find some little tiny twigs like this guy right here. This is either spruce or hemlock. I'm not sure. It looks big in the picture, but when I put it back by my face, super thin. You want like hair, close to hair size, or at least toothpick, smaller than a toothpick size of twig, and you just put them on a little bit at a time, and you can get your fire started even when it's wet. And just, shred that birch bark up good. And please don't peel it off the trees. Don't break any live trees. Green wood doesn't burn well. It really doesn't. There's dead wood everywhere. You just have to look. Most of the time, when I'm starting a fire at an established campsite, all I do is look around the fire pit, because there is tons of little tiny sticks around the fire pit that, people go and break up a big tree and they leave all this wood on the ground. They don't even realize that there's already wood all around them, at least kindling to get the fire started. So, and what's an awesome side effect of doing that is that you learn more about your surroundings and nature, and kind of like zoom into the microcosm. It will enrich your life, I promise. What a lovely way to spend an autumn day. I am so grateful to be out here. Glad I followed through. After 72 hours of work, I was like, nah. I'm glad I did it. It was easy to get here. I felt so tired, but it was easy. All right. Good deal.
Okay, there's my fire. I put all the stones back where they came from. Right there. Right there. Kind of revitalized that fire pit, which is in a much flatter spot. It's just that when I started to rebuild it yesterday, there were a couple salamanders in there, and I just lifted a rock and it severed the salamander's tail. I feel really bad about that. God, I just lifted it, but I guess I must have tilted it. Poor little salamander. Anyway, if you find an old fire pit, there's a good chance things are living in it.
probably the best thing is to just leave it alone, because that's their home. But if you need to rebuild it, just maybe respect the life and rebuild it very carefully. Lift your stones carefully. And obviously if you have poisonous snakes or scorpions, you know, be super careful. Be careful either way. Garter snakes can give you a bacteria-filled bite that will cause you problems. So I looked under the rocks today, and everything that was there was gone. So I guess I scared them out of their nice little home. Poor guys and girls. But I built a nice fire pit, and hopefully the next person that comes here will enjoy it. Maybe that'll be me. Okay, so you can see I dumped 2 kitchen sinks full of, that is the 10-liter Sea to Summit kitchen sink, in case you're interested. Dumped 2 of those full of water in the fire pit, and I stirred it around. You stir it in, make sure, because sometimes, you know, you have thick leaves on the ground, or, you know, a lot of pine duff, which is best if the fire is underlaid with rocks or sand if you have a lot of pine duff, because that can burn underground for days and into the roots of trees and then start a forest fire. So be careful with your fires and you'll have a good time. Put them out well, stir it up. I know for absolute certain that this fire is completely out, so I'm probably gonna toss some leaves over it. Now, I don't know if that's best practices, because, you know, unless you're super careful, you could start a forest fire that way too. But I am certain that this is out, and I'm going to cover it over with leaves. I try to cover up my traces, leave no trace, you know. I know this doesn't quite qualify as leave no trace because I did move the fire pit out of concern for the salamanders, but yeah, it's close. It'll recover quickly, I think. Okay, bye-bye. I was laughing recently in a video when Shug said he gets spooked out sometimes when he's solo camping. Well, guess what? The laugh's on me. Ain't it, party? Mm-hmm. I was sitting, I did a lot of sitting today. I was just sitting there and a breeze came up and all these golden leaves fell down. It's really neat, neato, man.